I absolutely 100% apologize for Kentucky History 14. I'm going to keep it up because I had learned something throughout, but I was calling the Sac tribe the Ojibwe the whole way through, and that was not true. They had the exonym was an Ojibwe word, but they weren't the Ojibways. They were the Sacs, okay? And so the Sacs is the Sacs. That's who the fuck they are. And the Ojibwe are the Chippewa. So the Ojibwe are the Chippewa, and the Sacs are their own fucking people. So that's the ooh, acky wacky. So it's almost like ooh, acky wacky tobacco, right? The Sacs. Sacs, hit them in the sacks, have good sacks. So that's, the Sacs are not the Ojibways. The Sacs are not the Chippewas. The question I had in the very beginning is the Indian campaigns of John J. Hardin. So you got Hardin County, right? So I'm here in Muldraw, Kentucky. It's mostly in Meade County, but a little bit is in Hardin County. Hardin County is about Radcliffe, and Elizabethtown is only about 5, 10, 15 minutes away from me. And so Hardin County is one of the original Kentucky counties. It was established in 1792, the same year that the state of Kentucky was adopted into the United States of America. Hardin County is named for Colonel John J. Hardin. John J. So J. Hardin. So John J. Hardin, O.J. Hardin, was one of the first 7 original counties in Kentucky. Colonel John J. Hardin lived, lived from 1753 to 1792, so he's only about 49 years old. He fought in the Revolutionary War. He's a surveyor. He rode with George Rogers Clark. So yes, that was totally true that he rode with George Rogers Clark. George Rogers Clark is an absolute psycho. Right? So George Rogers Clark is a complete psychopath, and so George Rogers Clark destroyed Chillicothe and Piqua in 1780, and then in 1782 he destroyed Millstown, McKeestown, Standardstone, and Lower Mead's Store. He burned and he maimed the Shawnee. Most Kentuckians believed that the only good Indian was a dead Indian, the bunch of fucking psychopaths. Extraordinaire, and then eventually he's killed by Ohio Indians during a so-called peace mission. So this is John J. Hardin. He ride with George Rogers Clark. Okay, so John J. Hardin, not only was he with the fucking psychoterrorist George Rogers Clark, who was a totalitarian fascist, militarized fucking ruthless dictator, but he was also, they had deserters. People in Louisville, the people who founded Louisville, deserted from George Rogers Clark's militia because they didn't want to fucking march with him to kill all these fucking Indians everywhere. It was asymmetrical warfare, so it was just basically absolute just carnage. And so John J. Hardin was with George Rogers Clark, and so we can infer that since Clark had destroyed all these towns, that also John J. Hardin was there too. And so John J. Hardin, my God, what an Indian psychopath. He got the reputation as being known an Indian killer. The old Indian killer, John J. Hardin. They was like, well, the Bulldogs. Yeah, you could be the fucking, the Shawnee Bulldogs. You could be anybody else except for fucking Colonel John J. Hardin. John J. Hardin is just a piece of shit, okay? He helped burn down Chillicothe. So Chillicothe is destroyed. Piqua, he destroyed villages in Piqua. This is mostly Shawnee people. Willstown, McKeestown, Standardstone, Lower Mead's Store. So this is like there's about 6 fucking villages that they just burned down. That's all they would do. They would go into these villages, burn down the cornfields, burn the houses down, scare the shit out of everybody, or just kill everybody until they're all dead, till it was all gone. So John J. Hardin, Shawnee, this Kentucky is Shawnee land, and so you have this motherfucker just killing Shawnees left and right. You know, I guess if you're gonna steal their fucking land, you gotta fucking kill them forever. John J. Hardin was a soldier, farmer, rancher, noted marksman, and hunter. He was wounded fighting in Lord Dunmar's War, served in the Continental Army, officer in the American Revolutionary War, and as a Kentucky County, Virginia militia commander in the Northwest Indian War. He's a member of the Methodist Church, so as a fucking Methodist, right, a Protestant, we've seen more and more WASP, English-speaking, waspy fucking bloody psychopaths, okay? There's a continuity that goes from, the very beginning of the pioneer days to the 1855 Know-Nothing riots in Louisville, all the way till today. There's still anti-native, there's anti-immigration going on today. And Louisville could be some of the, you know, beautiful, most integrationist places. There's a little Haiti and little fucking Chinatown and shit, but they're it's not like that. It's very much like a salad bowl. It's not a melting pot. It's a salad bowl. Everybody's got their own distinct parts. So he was a member of Methodist Church, one of the first judges in the original Washington County, Virginia, later to become Washington County, Kentucky. John Hardin was killed in an ambush as acting as a peace emissary under the direction of President George Washington to the Shawnee Indian people. So the Shawnee Indians fucking killed him, and, you know, good fucking riddance. They should have fucking murdered him after he killed all them Shawnees with George Rogers Clark, Chillicothe, Pequot, all those 6 villages, Willstown. I think it's actually important to remember Willstown, McKeestown, Standing Stone, Lorme Store, so Standing Stone, all these places were Shawnee places, and then so the Shawnees Indian eventually killed them in a so-called peace mission, right? Who knows if it was actual peace mission? The way George Washington would do a peace mission, send one of his guys out there and say, hey, y'all want war or you want peace? That's how he would do fucking peace missions. So born in Prince William County, Virginia, an area that is known Fauquier County, John Hardin was the first son and 5th child of Martin Hardin, an owner of Ordinary or Roadhouse Bar. As a member of the Virginia militia and Lydia Nee Waters Hardin, John Hardin married Jane Davies, and together they had 7 children with future Senator Martin D. Hardin, the youngest Lord Dunmar's War. Due to his reputation as a marksman, John J. Hardin was asked in 1774 to join Captain Zach Moran's company, mustering in as an ensign to fight hostile Indians in Lord Dunmar's War. John J. Hardin's exploits led him to become known on the frontier as the Indian Killer. In a battle with the Indians, John J. Hardin was wounded in the groin by a musket ball. The musket ball remained in him for the rest of his life. So John J. Hardin had a fucking busted fucking nutsack, right? He had a fucking fucked up dick, a fucking messed up fucking retarded looking fucking, you know, fucking dick, because he got shot in the fucking nuts in the battle with the fucking Shawnees. So, you know, you try to murder them, they try to shoot, you know, they'll shoot your balls off. And in the War of Independence, John Hardin was 2nd Lieutenant in the 8th Pennsylvania Regiment, known as the Provisional Rifle Corps, Morgan's Rifles, and they fought at Saratoga under Colonel Morgan. 1786, John J. Hardin family settled on a large parcel of land in Virginia County, or Washington County, Virginia, now Washington County, Kentucky, where they farmed and raised stock. So big land speculators, right? These fucking white psychopaths, these English-speaking white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, they are land speculators. They're bloody war hawks because they want to steal Indian land. And here we see that he's settling in Washington County, Kentucky. So John J. Hardin is profiting from the murder of lots of Native Americans. He profited, you know, he was with the fucking Lord Dunmar's War, he's killing Native Americans, and then with George Rogers Clark, he's killing Native Americans, and then eventually the Shawnee Indians, he's killed by the Shawnee Indians. And here actually I think it's probably, it starts because who knows where the Piankeshaw fucking people go, but you have, you know, okay, so he's farming and raising stock. He joins the Methodist Church, and so he's a Protestant, right? Some success as a rancher, continually adding acreage to his original tract. So he just keeps on getting fucking more and more land and shit. They the Protestant, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, English-speaking white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, you see nationalism, you see alliances, basically all the reasons for World War I you see going on right now. And in the Revolutionary times, that was a civil war. You know, had no idea who was a loyalist and who was, you know, American and who was for the natives. So later militia service as a militia captain in 1786, John J. Hardin led a successful attack on the Piankeshaw village near present-day Vincennes, Indiana, which unfortunately belonged to a friendly tribe that had been colonial American allies. The Piankeshaw, or the Piankeshaw Indians, were Native Americans and members of the Miami Indians who lived apart from the rest of the Miami Nation. So the Piankeshaw were kind of Miami, but they weren't the Miami. And the Miami aren't even the Miami, they're the Miami. Miamia, the Miamia. So they lived in an area now includes western Indiana and Ohio, and were closely allied with the Wea Indians. Pika Shawnee villages reported along the White River in central India Indiana along the Vermilion River in Illinois near Oetenon. The Pika Shaw were living along the Vermilion River in 1743. The Pika Shaw are usually regarded as friendly towards European settlers. They intermarried with Canadian traders and were treated as equals by residents of New France and the Illinois country. A principal Pika Shaw village was established on the Wabash River near what became Vincennes. In fact, some have suggested that the land around the Grand Rapids Hotel that existed in the 1920s was part of a Pika Shaw summer campground. Like their Canadian neighbors, the Piankeshaw generally sided with the Americans during the American Revolution. They took no part in the Northwest Indian Wars that followed. The Piankeshaw suffered retaliation from Americans for attacks made by other native tribes. However, President George Washington issued a proclamation forbidding harm to the Piankeshaw. During the late 18th century, the Piankeshaw population began to decline. Many of the Piankeshaw simply left and joined other Miami tribes after the Americans and French suffered setbacks in the Revolution, notably the disaster Le Baume expedition. Some Piankeshaw joined tribes aligned with the British. At the time in the West, the British looked as if they would be the victors. Others left during the economic depression caused by a depreciated United States currency and stagnated fur trade due to unrest in the Northwest Indian Wars. The Piankeshaw suffered especially when 1781 brought a severe winter followed by a summer drought. Despite overall good relations with the new United States, some Piankeshaw resented the new settlers encroaching on their territory. They joined with other tribes in attacking American settlers. This led to increasing tension at Vincennes, which peaked after an attack on the Embarrass River by Kentucky resident Patrick Brown in August 1788. And then a large exodus of Piankeshaw left Vincennes and moved to Terre Haute, where they joined the Wea or moved to Kaskaskia, Illinois. By 1818, the Piankeshaw chief Chekommia has signed a treaty selling rights to much of the land in the United States, and there was not enough tribal members remaining to use it. So eventually the Piankeshaw are completely wiped out. So just like the Taino Indian in Haiti, they're all dead. They're all killed. So the Chekommia is the chief who eventually has to sign all the Piankeshaw lands away. Which is real sad. And I wonder which one was, this fucking douchebag was a part of. So, John J Hardin. John J Hardin, was he part of the Patrick Brown's raid in August 1788? Like, it doesn't say when he had fought, when he kills, the fucking Piankeshaws. Right? It doesn't mention it when he does this. It says he led it. It says, okay, in 1786. So he leads a successful attack against the Piankeshaw in 1786, but they were actually friendly to the Allies. So he's shooting fucking Allies. John J Hardin doesn't give it a shit. A fucking savage is a savage to him. An Indian is an Indian. What a great fucking American. You should care about the people that was your allies. The French were the allies. Some of the Native Americans were allies, like the Piankeshaw, but the fucking like John J Hardin, he didn't give a shit who his allies were. He didn't give a shit who helped him. He just was anti-fucking Native American. So just a bloodthirsty, just a Jeffrey Dahmer, just a fucking psychopath, just a serial killing piece of shit. White Anglo-Saxon, like Julie Chancellor, just a fucking fascist, right? Just don't care about anybody else. Elizabeth Rogers, just some of these fucking shitty fucking humans that exist on this planet. The Le Baume expedition, the Piankeshaw. Okay, so then they attack him again in 2 years, 1788, after he did it in 1786, and then there was a large exodus of the Piankeshaw, and then there are no more. So it wasn't the very last battle, but it was one of the last of those two battles. Now, John J Hardin, he wasn't even a good Indian killer. I mean, it's asymmetrical warfare. So we got the guns, gunpowder, the cannons, horses, the disease, the fucking good immune systems. But that doesn't, he loses. They actually have the Hardin's defeat. So you want to call yourself the Hardin County? Yeah, we're John J Hardin fucking Bulldogs. Well, Hardin's defeat, that's what he's known for. It's kind of like Custer's last stand. He's known for his loss. John J Hardin's defeat was the Battle of Heller's Corner. So in 1790, he leads a detachment of Kentucky County, Virginia militia into the disaster Battle of Heller's Corner. And I'm going to talk more about that coming up. So yeah, don't fucking love John J. Hardin. John J. Hardin is no fucking hero. He's an Indian murdering son of a bitch. Just loves fucking like a psychopath, just murdering fucking people. And he thinks that Indians are like cockroaches. Like the Cherokee Children Massacre at Yahoo Falls, the fucking white people that killed all the people at Yahoo Falls, which is Kentucky's Wounded Knee. He said that nits make lice. So you gotta kill the babies. Even the fucking Native American babies had to be killed because eventually those nits would become lice. That's the white mentality of Kentucky.